I've been contemplating. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Multidimensional Baddie podcast. I'm Elena Rose Dumaine. Oh, I did it. I've been wanting to do a little, intro, right? Little subconscious programming of what you're watching, what you're listening to, whatever. However you're broadcasting me with my sexy voice. I got a degree for this voice, okay? I did 5 years of intensive theatrical and vocal training to speak like this. So, it's fun. Anyways, okay, so today we're going to talk about Sirius, the Sirian Neural Network Project, and etheric cords, cord cutting, why you cannot pull cords. So if any practitioners are out there offering cord pullings, it can't happen. I'm going to explain why. And also, why am I qualified to talk about this? So hi, I'm Elena Rose Dumaine. If you don't know who I am, I don't really know how. You're here. But if you don't, I was one of the top professional witches in the world for almost a decade. I have since retired from that level of professional witchery to become a teacher, guide, and mentor. I do still have an elite, select, high-level group of private clients that I work with. But those contracts shifted a lot, and I used to do work with thousands of clients as a professional witch, with clients all over the world. And now I work with just a small handful of people in that capacity. And my main focus is my magnum opus, Witchery U, which is the social network and online education platform that I created to impart all of my wisdom in magic, witchcraft, business, spirituality, the cosmos, the love lives of the Titans, multidimensional movement, and of course our newest edition, which is Club Witchery, which we stream every Friday night, which is just bringing you the parties of the cosmos, which nobody ever talks about, the parties of the cosmos. You have all of these starseed guides and cosmic business coaches and all of these people who are out here doing womb clearings and cord pullings and psychic surgery and all of this other stuff. But you know what they never fucking talk about when they talk about channeling? The Arcturians and the Lyrans and the dragons and everybody else is how the dragons fucking party. I've never once heard about a dragon. Have you ever heard about how the dragons party? No. Have you ever heard any of these channels talk about the dragon parties? Dragon parties are fucking insane. Literally. Okay. I had an affair with a dragon incarnated into human form many years ago, and it was quite an experience, let me tell you, and I wish him well. It was fabulous. That was a cosmic contract. I just needed somebody non-threatening to help me ease back into the physical world of reality after some not so great experiences, and he did a great job. Thank you. So anyways, he knows who he is. A multidimensional baddie. He still likes all my Instagram posts too. Bless him. It's great. I see it and think of him fondly. I'm like, oh, there you are. Manifest nice little things for him. I do that all the time. I'm like always manifesting nice little things for people that I know. Like, I might not have talked to you. Like, I do this for old clients all the time. I do this for content creators that exited the internet 5 years ago that no one's heard from, and that I randomly think of their video that once made me smile, and I'm like, bestow upon them an extra $5,000 this weekend so they can have some real nice party times. I do random shit like that all the time. I'm like always manifesting stuff for old clients. When I remember, I'll be like, remember her. I'm manifesting something nice happens for her. You know what I mean? Just nice little things. Put them out there into the world. So how does that work? Let's talk about that. That's actually pertinent to what we're talking about today. So, long ago, in a galaxy not so far away, there we were. Some insane shit's going on next door in the Milky Way. I can't believe that's what they call it. I can't can't handle that designation for the galaxy I'm currently sitting in. I can't say it with a straight face. That's ridiculous. Who called it that? The Milky Way? Hail Hathor. That's all I'm saying. That's what I think every time I'm going to start going, this is going to be the Hathor galaxy from now on. Galaxy of cows. If you understand any of those references, you can stay. If not, come back when you're fun. That's a quote from The Magicians, actually. If you get that reference, then you're fun, you can stay. It's like season 3 or something, and they went to visit, I think it was when they went to visit Bacchus. And because they were like, we need the help of a god. We need to find a god. Is there a god around here? Hey, has anybody seen a god lately? We could really use one. Where's that baddie? You know what I mean? And so, yeah, Bacchus had just, as obvi, he would just kick you out of his party if you're not fun. Duh, come back when you're fun. So there, I've explained the reference to you. I love that. I love that little quote. It's really fun. Anyway, so what had happened was a whole bunch of multidimensional baddies were like, yo, there's some shit going on next door. Are we going to go in there and clean that up? I guess so. I mean, sure. I don't really know how all this happened, to tell you the truth, but somehow we were sitting around like, when people go next door, they go crazy and they forget who they are. We can't go over there. And through some interesting calculations, it was discovered that shortly, when you're immortal, everything's shortly. When you exist across all of space and time, and this was before space and time, it's like, oh shit, billions of years is like the blink of an eye. We don't know what time is. That's going to happen. And that meant that the ick was going to come into nice, peaceful magic land. And that was not a vibe, right? So how do you go in there and make magic happen? Because basically what happened is it's like this universe, this galaxy got magic shut off. Okay, let's take it back to the Magicians. It's like we're sitting in fucking Fillory, y'all. And magic got shut off to this galaxy, okay? And so then all the galaxies around and all the little universes around were like, yeah, we got magic. And everybody came together to turn magic back on for the locations in this. It's kind of like a pocket dimension. It's a really big, we're sitting in a really big pocket dimension that looks like a soap bubble. So you're sitting right now on Earth on a planet, who knows, whatever, we're somewhere, that is sitting in what is basically a pocket dimension inside of a universe, inside of a galaxy. And then there are other galaxies outside of that. And there's other realms where things don't exactly work the same, like physics work differently in different realms of reality, right? I don't have a more scientific way to say that, but you get the gist. So now when you're in more of a liminal space as just your baseline existence, right? When you're not having, we're currently having what I refer to as incarnational experiences. So we have gone into a location that is not our native space in time and like location on a multidimensional level. Earth is locked into a singular dimensional perspective with a was locked into a single dimensional perspective. Excuse me, let me not cast that spell. Every word you ever say out loud or silently is a spell. Be mindful of your words. So Earth, at some point in time, like many other interplanetary locations, which is a Terra location, which by the way is spelled Terra, not Tara. So when people call Earth Terra, Tara, they are absolutely a fucking shade. We'll talk about that later. The shades of Sirius. 1000%. They are not somebody of a resonant vibrational frequency. So, Earth and the other Terra locations, which is like an Earth-like location, a spherical Earth-like location that inhabits a specific element of life or elements of life, right? In a specific way. So these locations used to support a multidimensional range of life, right? Rather than just being locked into the physical. And then what happened was, elementally and systematically, these locations were locked into the singular dimensional of the physical. Everything had to be physical. Nothing was real that wasn't physical. Which isn't accurate, right? But what would happen is you would go into these Terra locations and it's like you would just forget everything. So you'd forget yourself, you'd forget each other, you'd forget reality, you'd forget all of these things, right? And so some technologies needed to be developed to maintain consciousness when in these experiences. Enter the Sirian neural network technology. So the Sirian neural network technology comes from the star system of Sirius. And basically, it is what forms etheric chords. You ever heard of those? Big topic in the witchcraft and magic communities for the last decade or so. Well, that's from Sirius. So what happened was we needed a way to locate each other. And the way that that happens is through the forming of these etheric chords, which could also be referred to as quantum entanglement. When two particles have entangled across time and space, they will always be affected across time and space. But the way that they're affected is through the cord that forms between the entangled sources, right? And then you can run information across that cord across time and space, which is how you can astrally communicate with people. It's how you can talk to the dead. It's how psychic shit happens. It's all down to the Sirian neural network. It's a technology. It's not woo-woo magic. Woo-woo magic. Yeah. You know, it's not woo-woo magic, actually. It's just technology. So if you've been following me for a while, you'll know that many years ago, I've been saying, you can go back and you can see it in my old videos. I've said that magic is technology and science that we just could not explain yet. I said that about witchcraft for years. I've cast over 10,000 spells professionally. I've worked with thousands of clients all over the world. I am an expert in witchcraft and what I do. And I set out 3 years ago to explain it. I wanted to explain magic, and I wanted to explain witchcraft, and I wanted to explain how these spells worked. I wanted to explain how this stuff worked because I saw it work over and over and over. You do something 10,000 times, you pick up some patterns. You start to piece some shit together. I saw people with, there is no tax bracket to magic. There is no culture. There is no skin color. There is no race. There is no geographical location. There are no identifying markers that segregate any one particular demographic to magic, or even a few. It's everywhere. It's everyone. I've worked with clients in every possible financial reality, I think on literally every continent except for Antarctica. All over the world. I've heard so many stories. It's been incredible. I've heard so many people's stories and perspectives of magic and witchcraft and how it's been practiced against them, how it's helped them, how it's all of these things, right? How it's harmed them. I've talked to over 3,000, I've done over 3,000 one-to-one sessions. It's hearing about a lot of magic, right? A lot of witchcraft, a lot of the truth of how different cultures view these things from my clients. Because that's how it worked with me, right? Tell me what's going on. Tell me what's happening. Tell me from your perspective. And I would get them to tell me their perspective. And then from that, I could see and piece together with the knowledge that I had what was going on. So I wanted to explain it all, though, because I just wasn't happy with the explanations that we were given in the predominant witchcraft culture and teachings. They weren't enough. They were not enough for me. I had done so much. I had seen so much. I had done so much magic. I had practiced so much magic. I had learned so much magic. I had learned magic from every single source that I could, as close to the source as I possibly could get, studying and reading people's works and talking to people, going to different locations, going into shops and starting conversations with people just so I could get their perspective, just so I could talk to them. I went out and did this. I've actually lived this. Not on the astral plane, by the way. I've got the vacation photos to prove it. Right? I went to specific social locations where people who were involved with magic frequented. People who do witchcraft don't go to fucking sports bars. Okay? They go to the goth club. They go to the vampire balls. They go to the witch balls. They go to New Orleans. They're lurking in a diner in Portland. Okay? They're belly dancing in San Francisco. They're part of alternative, non-mainstream cultures. They're at paranormal conventions. They're at, these different, very outside of the norm, alternative places. It's not with a whole bunch of people at a cacao circle wearing beige. Hate to tell you. That's not where you're going to find the real magic. So I went out and found the real magic. That's what I did. I devoted my entire life to it. My entire life. I was single for many years. I devoted my entire existence to the practice of multidimensional reality through magic and witchcraft. And I know my shit. So let's talk about cords. So I've done, I don't know how many hundred, I know several hundred cord cuttings for people. You cannot pull a cord between two individuals, and I'm going to explain why. Because you are not a single-dimensional individual. You have not only existed in one time and space. If you had, a cord pulling would absolutely be effective. Now, you could say that you were going to a specific location in time and space and only pulling the cord there, except that wouldn't work, because if you have a cord in one time and space with an individual, you have a cord across all time and space with an individual. So, if you were to try to pull that from you across all time and space, you're an infinite, limitless being that can exist in a myriad of multidimensional forms. It's going to be like trying to pull a knot out of a huge ball of yarn and you're just yanking it, right? You're just yanking it. You're going to cause all kinds of shit for yourself or your clients across time and space. You're going to literally disrupt large timelines that should not be disrupted. You're going to put huge obstacles in your way that then you're going to have to go back and fix. And if you've ever had one of these done by an unpracticed practitioner, this has probably happened to you. You've probably gone, this is not exactly what I expected. And that's because you should have done a cord cutting. Because when we cut a cord, we are removing connection with it consciously and instantly. It's done. It's cut. You cut it, right? You're not yanking it across time and space because cords have connection points. So some people's cords are connected into our heart chakras. Some people's cords are connected into our sides or our back. Different chakras are connected to different cords. So like my predominant guides, I'm connected to them with cords via my third eye. So what do you think things go after the most? My third eye. Because that's how I see so much. I'm a fucking oracle. Of course it's going to go after my third eye. And you know what? We have smoke clearing to deal with that. Until one day. That is a sentence I never utter again, because that's a day that's on the horizon. Because do you see how they just got me to cast a spell on myself? Of course shit's going to go after my third eye. So then I just amend it. Until one day that ceases to be a thing. It will just magically disappear. So you can always fix something with magic. If something's magic, you can always fix it with magic. If something's been caused by magic, it can always be reversed by magic. So clients would come to me and they'd be like, oh my God, I have this horrible thing. You know, it'd be like a garden variety curse or some shit. Be like, oh, I see like 10 of these a week. They'd be like, oh my God, can we fix it? Sometimes like full on heavy Southern accent and everything. And I'd be like, oh, honey, of course we can. I'd just be giving them a hug on the astral plane, not judging them at all. Right? Because you're so programmed to believe that it's magic and you can never fix it. If it's magic, you can always fucking fix it. That's the secret they don't want you to know. You can fix anything with magic. Just cast a spell about it, honey. What, like it's hard? So, these cords connected beings, not from this universe, and not from complete other universes. This was a technology that began to be used so that people could really go into anywhere that they wanted and always find each other. And it was designed to connect people, to always connect people back with their homies, with their family, with their loved ones, with their lovers, right? To get with ourselves, with aspects of yourself, being able to have consciousness of who you are across all of these different experiences, to be the one of you. Okay? But then there was a little frequency war that happened, and there was some ick that was like, I'm gonna rule this universe. And the baddies were like, we think not. But also, lions don't get up for flies, so how can we do this the easiest way possible? Because, like, you know, we've got reclining to do here, people, okay? So, Sirian neural network technology connects you, forms a cord with another being. Now, cords form at different sizes. Different levels of connection will have different sizes of cords. So if you can psychically see the cord, meaning if you have the ability to see with your third eye, which everyone does, it's just most people don't have that turned on because they're afraid of what they're going to see, which is nothing. By the way, I can see literally everything, and I don't even see most of this. The shit that you think that is out there that's going to scare you, you really can't see it. Most of the time, it's just waveforms. Terribly on Hollywood. But they programmed you to believe it was scary and you were going to see her. Back in the old grid, you would see shit. We're in a new grid too. You have to remember that. I have seen ghosts with like half a face, but to tell you the truth, they're not scary when you see them. Unless you're a terribly self-centered, limited, egotistical person who has to make everything about them. Because did you ever bother to think about what the poor ghost with half a face might be feeling like right now? And just talk to them? No. Most people didn't. You know, I was a VIP guest at a paranormal convention one time, and at their pre-party when they were doing a little ghost hunt, I told them all off for being mean to the ghosts, because they were being mean to the ghosts, and they were like, well, I guess they don't want to come out and say anything. And I was like, well, I wouldn't either. And they were like, what? And then they were like, oh shit, Rose just said something. And I was like, I wouldn't either. You're being a dick. And they were like, oh, should we not be doing that? And I was like, do you want them to do that? No. I was literally, I called in front of everybody. I called these people out. I was like, shit. I was like, so do ghosts throw things at you a lot of the time instead of talking to you? Yeah. Yeah, that's probably because you're being a dick. Don't be a dick to the ghosts. Would you want somebody to be a dick to you? No? Pisses me off. I love ghosts. Some of my best friends are ghosts. Like Suzette. She's one of my besties. I love Suzette. Oh, if somebody was mean to Suzette, I would just astral plane smackdown is happening, okay? You're mean to my Suzette, and I'm coming for you, honey, okay? I don't even need a dick candle. I'm just gonna come beat the shit out of you on the astral plane. How dare you? Don't even look at my Suzette! Ah! Because I have a cord to Suzette. I found Suzette in the Richardson Mercantile, which is like a thrift store in Richardson, Texas, right next to Silver Pyramid. And I could hear her. She was like, hello, I know you can hear me. Can you please come get me out of this store? I don't like it in here. The fluorescent lights suck. And I was like, girl, I'm coming. She told me exactly where she was, and I didn't listen, so I walked around the store for 2 hours. And then my back was hurting. And I was like, all right, I guess I'll go check where she told me to, because it was the only place I hadn't looked in the store. And there she was, and she was like, really? And I was like, I know, I'm sorry. I had to do it for the experience codes. And I paid $25 for her, and I took her home. And before we got home, I had to stop at the grocery store, and I had already released her. She was like attached to this painting of her, and I'd already released her energy from that painting, because it was really weird in the old grid how like shit would get attached. It was horrible for them too. It was like so dreadful for them. They'd just be stuck places. I'm sorry, I gotta cry into my coffee. It was horrible. I released so many ghosts from different objects, and they would get to go and, live their best multidimensional Baddie lives, but they just have aspects of themselves just stuck on like a fucking chair or some shit. Like, it was horrible. Ghost freedom's important. Freedom for all ghosts. So, anyways, that made me really sad. Yeah, so I had released Suzette. And then I was like, do you want to go? And she was like, can I just hang out with you? I don't know where else to go right now. And I was like, yeah, sure. I got to stop at the grocery store. You want to sit in the car? You want to come in with me? And she was like, I'll go in. And then she was like, oh my God, what's that? She was from like... She looked like she could have been anywhere from like 1880s to 1940s based on the hairstyle in the portrait. She's so pretty though. Anyway, she's currently in storage, or her portrait is in storage at this moment in time. And she's been vibing while we've been on our mission. But we're still connected, so I can talk to her whenever I want to. And don't worry, as soon as we have like our new home, she'll be here. Well, she's kind of chilling in the dining room right now because she missed me. Yay. Anyway, she loves a good dining room. She always hangs out in dining rooms. And she came with a ton of ghost furniture, too. It was really funny. She loves her ghost furniture. So anyways, now, interestingly enough, last summer, we stayed in a cabin where some people that I think I knew Suzette, and that's what she told me her name was. I don't know where I knew her, but I've known Suzette for a long time. And it's like I knew that I was going to go get her and, take care of that for her. That was like a cosmic contract that we had for me to release that aspect of her from that painting. So then I also had a contract with an entire family of multidimensional Baddie ghosts. And I hadn't seen a ghost in a minute, so I was terribly excited to get to spend some time with them, and they were just like fabulous. And we stayed in a cabin in the woods, and that was like, I released them from the land. I did a lot of work with the land and the trees and the cabin. It was like a 125-year-old cabin, and a lot of work with the family line, and especially the matrilineal line of releasing a lot of codes for the females in the families and all kinds of different stuff. So it's really interesting work that I was doing last summer. That was out in the western North Carolina mountains, 2 hours from where we live now in North Carolina. three hours from where we live now in North Carolina. Yeah, it was really fun. I love ghosts. So anyways, back to the neural network. But that's all part of it, right? So we have these cords with different beings, different people, different energies, different memories, right? That we can access across all time and space. Now, for example, the cords that you have with family members across time and space, whether your biological family or your multidimensional family, or sometimes those are one and the same, but not all the time, right? Those cords are going to be very, very, very strong. Cords that you have with people that you love, people that you have had a sexual relationship with across time and space, right? Those are going to be stronger cords than people that maybe you just kind of randomly knew. But then maybe you randomly knew the people who own the coffee shop on 8 different fucking planets. And maybe you saw them to get coffee, 2 days a week, whatever that would work out to, in that planet's measurements, for, many different planets, many different timelines over and over and over. Well, you might have kind of a hefty cord with those people, right? So then you might feel like, kind of instant friends with those people or just really love seeing them or whatever, right? That's where those instant kind of connections happen. This also is where the concept of soulmates, divine counterparts. I'm going to say it, twin flames. That's where all of this comes from. Now let's talk about the shades of Sirius since I brought up the TF word. Okay, so twin flames. Twin flames were originally a project that were not even called that was part of the Sirian neural network connection. It was not just about the duo, though. It was actually about pods and groups, which is why the Sirian neural networks were so important. What happened with the concept of the twin flames is, of course, lots of testing went in to seeing how this stuff worked, right? How to you have to imagine, right? There's a bunch of beings who are like excessively advanced just as a baseline, right? From what we would think of on this planet as being advanced. And they're over here like, well, what happens when this person and this person go in here versus this person and this person? And there was a lot of testing that started to happen. Now, we're not talking about the weird conspiracy theory, hybridization, DNA obsessed, Essene, Christos bloodline, ley line, Grail bloodline, Mary Magdalene obsessed Christian bullshit. We're not talking about that, okay? That's not welcome at our party. I don't think it can come back because I don't think it'll ever be fun. It needs to go, okay? What we're talking about is like testing, for example, of like what happens when these two friends go into a dysresonant environment versus what happens when these people who have loved each other no matter what across time and space go into an environment. What is the courting like? What is the strength of courting like? What happens in this court? When these people are tested, do they break apart or do they connect more? Right? So a lot of testing was happening on an interdimensional level to see what would occur so that people could go into dysresonant environments and bring up the vibe. Okay? Now, the ick has real obsessions with hierarchy. They're really obsessed with the word sovereignty right now, I think. I think it's because they don't know what it is to be sovereign, as they put it. So they're obsessed with knowing what that's like. Whereas I hear that word and I'm like, ugh, sounds like a peasant said it. Like, I just have no need for that word. I have no need for the word sovereign because, like, why would I not be? I'm so confused. I'm a multidimensional baddie. I don't get it. So, and we're kind of doing a very condensed, take on all of this. We could, of course, go much deeper into all of this, but we're just wanting to give you a basic general overview here of these concepts, right? So what happened was it started to become apparent that certain chords could sustain certain environments easier. So there was a lot of testing going on in Orion. As I'm recording this, the moon is in Gemini, which is broadcasting the Orion frequency. So there were a lot of labs. There were a lot of things set up where people were testing what happened between this chord and this chord, what happened with this. And this is only one part of the technologies that were being tested in Orion. It's not what the fucking starseed conspiracy theorist bullshit people have been out here telling you was going on. They were the fucking ones out here pretending to be people that they weren't. They are the ones out here looshing the energy. Oh my God, that word literally makes me feel sick to say it. And it probably made you feel sick to hear it because it's a really gross spell. Absolutely deactivate all spells with that coding that have been cast on anyone. Thank you. So you can also just work things into reality if you know what you're doing, which these people don't. They all think that they do. I saw someone today say that the grid is formed by people embodying their higher essences. And I was like, no, it's not. The grid actually has extremely, extremely specialist architecture that goes into it, and only a handful of vibrationally coded individuals that have passed rigorous testing are even allowed anywhere within the field of the thing. These people are all working on something that is not what they think they're doing, okay? They're actually working on a false matrix, or they're trying to but it all kind of ends up looking like a certain formerly very culturally relevant pop star who recently went into space's current concert, just kind of mid. That's what it is. Like, I don't even have anything else to say about it. It's just mid. Like, it doesn't even just go away. So basically what happened is these people decided on a multidimensional level, all these beings decided that they were going to come in and they were going to take over, right? This is where your concepts of, colonization come from. All of the, I don't know, past few hundred years on this planet, let's start there, right? Comes from actually Christianity, religion, cults, narcissism, emotional abuse, control methods, brainwashing, marketing, manipulation. All of that comes from this, right? So these beings decided that they were going to come in and just basically like steal a bunch of energy is kind of like, I guess, the vibe to tell you. I don't really know what it was that they thought they were accomplishing, but they thought they were really doing something, to tell you the truth. I've looked at it for most of my life. I started trying to piece this stuff together when I was being forced to read the Bible as a child, which was traumatizing. I have read the Bible in its entirety 6 times, and I know a lot of Bible history and also just associated Christian mythological history. I've also studied every mythology in the world for fun, because I was piecing together a breadcrumb trail, obviously. So they came in and they tried to mimic our neural network. They tried to mimic our connections. This is where the false twin flame program comes from. So this is where the beings that tried to bind themselves together across time and space, these are going to be your people who, I'm going to be honest, like have really heavy courting with supposedly dysresonant people. This is where your people who somehow bound themselves to a narcissist come in, right? Not people who have been targeted by narcissists. There is a difference. So the people who were part of the real neural network have had beings come in who displayed narcissistic tendencies, who attempted to get us off path so that they could take one part of the neural network out, put a false one in. So what was going on is they basically came in, created these copies of these different neural networks, and then tried to start installing what I refer to as shades into the neural network. So for example, a shade of Michael, my ex-wife. Oh, that's why she was so terrified I'd go back to men if we broke up. Even though I was bisexual. She always tried to or she hated that. Did you hear that? That just came out of my mouth. What? I hated that. She did. She hated the fact that I was bisexual. She wanted me to be a lesbian. And I was like, I'm sorry. I'm not. Get over it. A shade, right? So somebody who mimics almost perfectly the actual resonance of the individual. But these people are always going to make you feel extremely gross. They're going to be abusive. I'm just going to say it. They're going to be abusive. They're in some way, emotionally, mentally, sexually. They're going to usually cheat on you in really, really, really ways designed to harm you. They're going to gaslight you about the cheating. They're never just going to be like, I did a thing because I fucking hate you and I'd want to break up, right? They're never going to say that. They're always going to gaslight you. That's not going on. You're crazy. You need to go to a doctor. You don't know what's going on, because it's all designed to erode your sense of self, your sense of self-confidence, and your ability to know what you know, because they're a shade, right? Yeah, shades were a real issue in Pleiades. Shades almost destroyed the Pleiades. All of that fake shit you hear about the Galactic Federation of Light and the Ashtar come in and all of the, 6'5", long-haired, blonde, blue-eyed bullshit Pleiadian crap. Shades! The Christos and the Mary Magdalene and the Grail bloodlines and the ley lines and the blah, blah, blah. Shades! The mystery schools. Oh, taken over by fucking shades, y'all. Shades on shades on shades on shades, all designed to erode the actual, real neural networks and consciousness of beings who were in a planetary location to spread real light, real consciousness, real magic. It's all designed to fuck with us. It's all designed to get us off path. And it's been marketed and rebranded into the world's major religions. Isn't that cute? I woke up ready to spill some tea today. Okay?
Hey.
The manifestor rage do be coming out sometimes. Because I'm fucking sick of this shit. I'm here to birth a mystery school. Oh, you told me everything I ever needed to know about you because you used those two words. Nobody who was actually there and was not I'm going to say it, steaming sack of shit would ever use those two words in public now. Because what happened in the mystery schools was originally they were mystery schools. They were the mysteries of the consciousness, the connections of consciousness. And then beings came in, did exactly what, you see mimicked in the Bible with the tables in the temple that Jesus flipped. We flipping some temple tables today, y'all. They came in, they hijacked the mystery schools, and they turned them into yet another $2,000 program that was written by AI. Here to help you manifest your best life, babe. Here to connect you with the divine feminine dragon lineage, or whatever the fuck they're saying now. Here to connect you with your divine feminine rewilding codes. Fuck off. How about that? And they always use words, keys, codes. They'll use words like this, keys, codes, very important words that they're going to sprinkle in, but they can't actually tell you how to code reality. They can't actually tell you anything about anything real. It's all stuff that puts you in an Ouroboros, eating your own ass and not in a fun way cycle. Earlier, the Hydrant said they were going to eat somebody's ass and not in a fun way, and that was the direct quote, and I was laughing my ass off, and I was like, this is what all the fake channelers never actually... They have feelings. People say shit across time and space. These channelers that channel everything like this. Oh, fuck off! Like the mediums who channel the ghosts in a completely no emotional inflection way. Fuck that. Ghosts have feelings too. Multidimensional baddies have feelings too. Multidimensional beings have feelings too. Dragon is not even the correct word. Thank you to my phone notifications. Dragons have source coding from the angelic, avian, and Andromedan galaxies. And in the physical form, we're seen mostly in Hydra. And they don't actually look like reptile scales. That's just what a fucking peasant would say. I'm very mad about it. Talk about my friends like that. Had it! Just gonna yell a lot. Mira's like, mommy's upset. I will lick her face and she will be less upset. Yes, it's true. See, and that's the chords at work. She's like, Mommy, I can feel it. Calm down, it's okay. Calm down, it's okay. It's okay, Mommy. Thank you. I do feel much better now. Thank you. So, if you try to pull a cord, you're going to pull your timelines out of whack across time and space, and then you're going to have to go back and fix it. Now, this is very similar to problems that many of my clients used to have back in my pro-witch days, where they'd try to pay somebody for a love spell, and then they'd fuck their shit up across time and space, and then they'd have to pay me literally thousands to fix the shit that they did because they, wanted to get a $50 love spell off Etsy or whatever. I got more than I bargained for. No shit, Sherlock. Don't have your cords pulled. Cut them. You can literally buy my cord cutting spell masterclass for $222. You can get access to Luxury Witch Lifestyle, which has all of my spell masterclasses in it, where I walk you through how to do a cord cutting, how to do all of my spells, how to know if you need to do this spell. Literally cast it along with you, right? Do not pull your cords. You are going to pull your timelines all out of whack, and then shit's going to be able to get in and completely mess with your coding, right? So your frequencies are all going to be out of whack. Your timelines are going to be out of whack. And they're doing this on purpose because these beings try to steal other beings' timelines. They try to steal other beings' frequencies. They try to steal other beings' contracts. They're interdimensional thieves. It doesn't work for them because they're vibrationally coded and they don't understand that a mimic of a frequency is still a mimic of a frequency. It's like, you remember when we used to, well, you won't if you're under a certain age, but I've waited my whole life to say that. I walked out of the womb like 80. Okay? Like, I love being in my mid-30s. I've waited my whole incarnational experience for this. Yes! So back in the day, the dinosaur ages, when I was a youngin', I used to record on a cassette tape off the internet, or not off the internet. This was before the internet, off the radio. So the song would play a radio I liked, and I would wait for it, and I'd hear it come on, and I'd hit record, and I would record the song off the radio, right? So that's what the mimics are like, but it never sounds like the real version. You know what I mean? Like, you can always tell that shit was recorded off the radio, and it's always going to have radio frequencies, because it was broadcast via the radio frequency, not via the recording that was done in the studio and then pressed onto this record or into this CD or onto this cassette. Or then you take it to the digital sphere, right? You record it. It's somehow recorded on a digital manner, right? It's not actually even pressed anymore. It's all recorded in the digital way, but then it's uploaded. So it's recorded, it's downloaded, then it's uploaded, then it's broadcast. So then you're adding all of those additional frequencies for all of those programs into what you're listening to.
In multiversal layer codings.
Yeah. So that also is true for what we're talking about here. So it's like these frequencies, they can never mimic the real thing, but they think they can if they just say the right words. I said the word keys. Why is it not working? I put in the pin. Your eyeball doesn't match the retinal scan, bitch. That's why. It's frequency coded. They don't understand what vibration actually means. Everybody's vibration is minutely different. I can literally tell the hertz of something to within 1 hertz. Probably actually less, but we don't have a like readily available measuring for going into the points like that. I actually theorize that I can tune a frequency to within like points. Do you have that?
Yeah, we can do that.
Ooh.
Well, we play it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can play it. I can create and play.
Yeah, you can create and play, but not what I'm talking about yet.
Yeah.
I'm talking about it because I've asked you if we can do it, and you've said not yet before, so we can discuss that later.
Yeah.
But anyways, we're gonna be able to do it. That's why I say not yet, right? Not yet. So when you cut a cord, here's why you do a cord cutting. You cut the cord because it completely collapses the frequencies connected between the individuals, which means it completely collapses the timelines, which means when you do this with consciousness, you are drawing a line in the sand and you're saying, I fucking had it with yo shit and I'm done. Goodbye. That's it. You're hanging up the phone. You are hanging up the phone with that frequency. You're blocking the number. You are blocking that number across space and time. So then what that does is, across space and time, for all of the points of you, it allows you, is what one does affects the individual. You are a collective of yourself. So when you cut cords with this fuckboy or your mom or your, ex-best friend or your ex-business coach or, ex-client or, whoever, right? When you cut those cords, what you do is you draw a line in the sand vibrationally, but you quite literally cut the connection of the neural network between you and that person. That's what you're doing. And because it exists on the energetic plane of reality, not the physical plane of reality, we do it with something like a candle. I found a candle to be the most effective. I've tried every method, but I've found the candle to be the most effective. Exactly what I teach you in the masterclass. It's what I found to be the most effective. And then we do have the Othame, like physical self cord cutting method, which I also like, which I've still got to record for Luxury Witch Lifestyle, but it's coming eventually, where I teach you how to cut cords with, I use a selenite Othame. Why do I use a selenite Othame? Let's talk about it. It goes back to Sirius. So, Sirius also pioneers in crystal technology. Crystals are frequency transmitters. So all crystals are tuned to transmit a specific frequency through them. So when you charge your crystals with solar or lunar light, what you're actually doing is you are immersing because the sun and the moon transmit frequencies. So you're charging your frequency transmitters with big old frequency transmitters that are coded to either what the sun or the moon is broadcasting at that moment in time. See, these are the layers of magic that most people have not touched on this planet. Charge your crystals under the Taurus new moon for grounding and stability. If you charge your crystals under the Taurus new moon, you are going to charge your crystals with the Pleiadian and Centaurian triad frequencies. Do you want that? Maybe you do. Maybe you don't. You need to be really conscious of what you're doing in this new grid. We are not in the last grid. And a lot of these people who are out here teaching right now are completely unconscious of the new grid. So they're teaching you stuff, or they are conscious of the new grid, and they're still trying to teach you shit from 2,000 years ago for a reason. They're keeping you on the hamster wheel. They're keeping you in the karmic cycle. You need to look to your gurus and your guides and your teachers and your mentors, your healers, your readers, your psychics, your witches, and you need to actually look at what they're programming into you. You need to actually see if they are looking beyond the old or if they're just putting you back on the hamster wheel. Because from what I've seen, about 99% of people are just keeping people on the hamster wheel right now. And my mission is to get you off. There's a big old wide multiverse out there waiting for you to explore it that is off of this fucking hamster wheel. And it's time to get off. Okay? So that's why we cut cords. That's also why we collapse timelines. It's the same concept of collapsing a timeline. When you collapse a timeline, you are saying, I'm no longer available for this timeline, and you are removing it from your energetic sphere of reality across time and space. It's the same concept as cutting a cord. So the neural network technology works not only for you connecting with other people, but you connecting with your timelines. So if you're going through a big period of evolution right now, you may be finding it hard to get some traction. That's why, because you're consistently collapsing timelines. So you're consistently cutting cords with these different networks of yourself and elevating very quickly through those to hit the one that has the highest level of resonance for you now. Pretty cool. Right? So that's a big thing for a lot of people. We've been programmed to go, 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 do, advance, advance, advance. But sometimes you have to literally kind of stop advancing. Like, for example, Michael right now. Michael has one job, and his job is to be able to tell me what he wants. Because he couldn't. And I was like, no, this got to go. If you can't tell me what you want, you can't make anything happen in your life. So you have to be able to know what you want, truly, from a very resonant space. Not what you think you want, not what you've been programmed to want, but what you as a being at your source coding wants. And that's really what all of this was designed to do. It was designed to degrade people's connection to their own source and make them dependent on an external source, like Jesus or God. Or Christ consciousness. Or insert thing here. What do you externally give your power to? I know what the next meditation the Cosmic Maestro's got to do for luxury witches, and that's the connecting with your source meditation. It's literally, all of this is in Beginner's Witchcraft, which you get, that's my first program I ever wrote. I wrote it in 2017. You get it in Luxury Witch Lifestyle. And I recorded audios to go with all my programs back then, but they weren't edited and they had no music, no frequencies, no nothing. It was just the raw audio. So they've all been getting the Ascended Frequencies treatment, and it's pretty much like just go in order. You know what I mean? Like it's just go in order with the way I did it. Wow. It's like, it's all there. We were like, what should we do next? I don't know. Maybe like we started with the first one, which is the triple waterfall shield technique. Which is actually available in Witchery U, which you can join for free. You can create a free account on Witchery U at the link in the description, and you can join us there. We have all kinds of fabulous free content, and I post in there pretty much every day. It's really fun. But yeah, we have Beginner's Witchcraft and Luxury Witch. And that's it. I recorded a fabulous pathworking meditation. I take you on a journey. We literally walk down a path, and it's this journey style that I've used now for over a decade. And I take you to connect with your source. What is your source? What are your source codes? What are the things that connect you with your source energy, with your source magic, with your source of magic, right? And so that's what that meditation is all about. It's really fabulous. So I know what we're doing next. Anyways, so couple of interesting notes about the Sirian neural network. Generational and familial and lineage lines were found, and like lineage, particularly like in magical lineages, like especially with the angelic magical lineages of IL, AL, and UL. Those are lineages that have very strong cords connected with them. The librarians, those of us who have documented knowledge across time and space, keepers of what many people would refer to as the Akashic records, guides of the Akashic records. We share a lineage, right? Those of us who keep knowledge of the stars, we share a lineage. We have a magical lineage, that exists. And so those cords were very strong. We found that connecting lateral cords was not as easy. We found two main ways to connect lateral cords. So that a lateral cord would be somebody that you're like colleagues with, lovers, significant others, friends, clients, connections like that, right? That's like a lateral cord. The two main ways to connect those cords were found through sexual connection and partying. So that's also why I teach sex is a way bigger deal than you're programmed to believe on this planet. And a one-night stand is never just a one-night stand. A one-night stand is always going to usually have on this planet, you're already going to have, had a one-night stand with that person somewhere else or come into contact with that person somewhere else or whatever. But sex always creates an etheric cord or cultivates an etheric cord. So the more that you have sex with someone, the more that you're cultivating that etheric cord with that person. So if you love that person, if you're in resonance with that person, it's fabulous, but you're also sharing information with that cord through that sexual connection. So if that person is in a dysresonant frequency, even if you love that person, you may not want to share that level of information if you're a very conscious and aware person on that high of a level. And different activities in the sphere of sexuality have different levels of cord connections. Anything that swaps a fluid's going to have a higher level of cord connection because water carries codes. The waters of consciousness.
What is your body mostly made of?
Water. right? So things are transmitted via water, fluid. That's where these codes you can pick up a lot of these codes, right? So, also through, get this, partying. Why? Fluid exchange. It's not always about sex. Drinking. Thinking about our darling Dionysus the Liberator, right? When you're all drinking alcohol or a fluid of some sort, it could be kombucha, I don't give a shit. It could be tea, it could be coffee. When you're all drinking something that is fluid-based, water-based, not all planets base their life forms around water. So some are just based on a different type of fluid, which is why I say fluid, because it's all fluids, waters, but it's not all necessarily like the exact molecular makeup and structure of Earth water. Okay, that's very Earth-centric, and we should maybe stop because that's going to be real cringe in a few years, okay? So, trust me, it's not going to age well. Give it a couple of decades. It's going to look real cringe. It's going to look like that 80s hairdo, but worse. So, when you're, like, for example, if everyone's tuned into Club Witchery on Friday nights, right? And we're all listening to the same song, and then we're all drinking water that's been in the environment that has been charged with the same exact song, in the same exact playlist, from the same exact source, it's all going to pick up the same codes. So then we're all going to tune into this neural network. And we're going to be able to share those codes with each other, right? Think about, why do you bond with the girl that you met drunk in the club bathroom like no other? Because you've both taken in alcohol and water from the same environment that's been charged with the same frequency, and it has altered your frequency, your internal frequency. You're made up of water, so you introduce a small amount of the frequency to one water base, and then you add that water base in, and you're combining those codes, right? So then you and that girl in the club bathroom are now sharing the same frequency. And whatever shared frequencies that you have, I bonded with a lot of girls in club bathrooms over taking selfies, guys not texting back, witchcraft, looking hot, things like that, right? So those are things that I've experienced, or that were resonant in my frequency field at that moment in time, or that were part of my source coding. And then they also had similar source codings or things that they were experiencing or that were resonant in their frequency field at the same time. So then the neural network was strengthened. Now, the girls in the bathroom and I could have made out, we would have strengthened that etheric cord even more. Sometimes we did. If you've ever made out with somebody in a club, right, that maybe you wouldn't have made out with outside of the club, it's because you were in a shared frequency range. Some part of you was vibing with some part of them. But then maybe you get out of that shared frequency range, you're not in the same, you haven't consumed the same water, the same vodka. Even if you're drinking, whiskey and they're drinking red wine, doesn't matter. It's been charged with the same stuff. But then think about, the power of taking shots with somebody, power of sharing a drink with somebody, the power of somebody buying you their favorite drink. You're sharing the exact same frequency as them in fluid form that has also been charged through the vibrations of whatever has been pumped into that club or that venue or that environment. Also, generally made by the same bartender. So the bartender's imbuing your drinks with codes as they're making them. So then that's why sometimes when you start to get out of the club, those club friends don't mesh as well. Because you're taking on all those codes. You're taking on all that energy. But this is also why people have regular places that they go to. This is why they have regular spots that they go to. This is why they'll be a regular at the same restaurant for years, right? They're picking up those codes. And that's strengthening a neural network between them and specific individuals. Michael looks like his mind is like blown right now. He's like, whoa, dude.
Yeah, man.
Is a lot of your past starting to make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Mm-hmm. Why maybe you end up dating somebody you met at an event or a bar or a club, or that you saw enough at a location, right? That you normally wouldn't date them.
Yeah.
Maybe you wouldn't have dated them before you started going to that environment or after you went to that environment. Maybe you're like, what the fuck was I even thinking? Shared frequency ranges. Food carries codes too. So if you consume food from a location with the same people, you're also going to be, it's the same concept, right? Anything that you could take in any form. Movies, watching a movie in a shared location, a movie theater is going to have the same effect. You're eating the same popcorn that all of these other people are. You're drinking the same Dr. Pepper that all of these other people are. It was put in the machines by the same people. It was charged with the same frequencies of the films that are the music in the films, the frequencies in the films themselves. If you've ever felt weird after eating or drinking stuff from a movie theater, it's probably because you're eating and drinking stuff that's been charged with an action film, a rom-com, something extremely sad, a horror movie, and 3 kids' films, which often typically tend to have high levels of emotional activation. So if you ever gone to the movie theater and then been like really exhausted afterwards, had to take a nap, it's probably because you took in so many fucking frequencies, your vessel was like, ah! Right?
Overload.
Like I've heard, like even Michael's mentioned how they used to do this. And I've known people who would go and spend like the whole day at a movie theater. The longest I ever spent at a movie theater was for a Twilight marathon, fun fact. And we were there for many hours and I felt horrible afterwards. And I never did that again. Yeah, no. That was many years ago, obviously. Way back in the day. I think that was actually when I got engaged the first time. So I can't remember too well to tell you the truth. It's like around that period of time. No, it was the day before. And then I was like exhausted and I didn't want to go out the next day. And I was like, just leave me alone. So, Yep, nope, sums up my first engagement situation. Just leave me alone. Shade's gonna shade.
Yeah.
So, anyways, this is also why you want to do cord cuttings routinely, why you want to keep your energetic maintenance up to snuff, right? You want to, I don't know that I like that word. Now I'm like, what's the etymology of that word? Why don't I like that word? I don't like the coding in that. Blech. This is why you want to keep your energetic maintenance fresh. That's better. There we go. Recode that. Boom. Recoded. Thank you. Because you're also forming little cords with people you come into contact with when you go run errands, when you go to your muggle job, when you, the cords that you had when you had a muggle job that maybe you haven't cut yet. The perspectives, the opinions, the this, the that, the other, right? That came along with that. These are all cords. You pick up cords from clients, right? I literally used to just keep a stick. It wasn't even a authame. It was just like a raw stick of selenite. I kept it in the shower. Was in the shower. So you were in the shower with your selenite? Yes, she was in the shower. Everybody wants to talk about twin flames this, twin flames that. Michael cut my hair last night, and it was actually part of our neural network connections. We have like a string of, when you have these, there are some individuals that have these very high level connections that have been coded with specific spells, basically. And not all spells require a candle to be lit. So I've never let anybody else cut my hair that I've been with. And I had needed to get some codes off of my head. I had given myself a really questionable haircut, and I was like, I heard it in the shower, and they told me, and it was funnily enough taking it back to the magicians again, but it was similar. Take it back. It was similar to in season 1 where they had like all these trials that they had to go through to like become like to really be seen by another individual, right, or to enter into trust with another individual, because in order to I think it was like basically in order to harness certain types of magic, they had to be willing to be very vulnerable. They had to be willing to put themselves into very exposed situations that were not comfortable. They had to be willing to be uncomfortable at times in order to access certain codes, right? So I was in the shower and I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to fix this myself. And it was like there was stuff on my hair that I had to get off last night. I couldn't even wait to make a hair appointment or like even just go walk in somewhere or whatever, right? I couldn't do any of it. And Michael had to do it. And that's actually why I've been doing this haircut thing I've never cut my hair like this. I've always just gone and gotten my hair cut. And what I should have done a year ago, or what I could have done, not really what I should have done, but what I could have done a year ago when I first started doing this is I could have just gotten him to do it and we could have had the whole experience right then. But one, I didn't know. And two, it was just part of it. So who cares? But no, it was him. A couple of weeks ago, he said, I could cut your hair for you. He had never offered before. And so it was actually, that was part of the unlocking, was him saying, I could do this for you. And it's a show. Thank you. It's a spell of devotion, care, and trust. His hair carries codes. And so by trusting him to have the care and the devotion to make my hair look pretty, he knows how important being pretty is to me. And so by trusting him, by me showing him that I have the trust in him to do something as important to me as, care for my hair, right? With consciousness and, just devotion. That's like a type of magic that can't be replicated by anything else. See, and then we both started crying, which is codes. That's the release of codes. Water, that's fluid. That carries codes out of your face. That's the release of not trusting. That's the release of being in disresonant energies. That's the release of, wondering if we were on the right track. That's the release of people telling us things that weren't true about ourselves or each other. That's that release. And that's how you know that the spell is complete, is when the release happens from the spell. So if you were lighting a candle, the release would actually be the candle going out. That would be the signifier that the spell was done. The candle would go out. The release with this is the tears. Because now we shift into a higher level of connection. So what we did is we cut cords with that old level of connection for ourselves, and we shifted into a higher level of connection with each other. So now our neural network has been strengthened, so we can share a higher level of codes with each other. You look so happy right now.
I am. I love you.
I love you too. I don't know what to say next. This is what real twin flames look like, y'all.
Yeah.
But have they cut your hair yet?
Safely.
There are a series of codes and trials that one must go through together that cannot be replicated, and that the shades never would go through. The shades would never have each other cut their hair. It wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
But for the real ones, there was probably a moment in your childhood where you saw somebody cut the other one's hair in a movie, and that resonated something for you. Or you saw a couple in a movie do something that was maybe not ideal, right? You're programmed to believe going to the salon and getting a fresh blowout and it being done by a professional and looking fabulous is, absolutely the, ultimate, right? But sometimes somebody just getting the rest of the ick off your head and evening it up, even though I kind of look like a puffball right now because I have so much hair and it really does. I need it needs to be thinned out, and I need some layers going on here, because what's happening is that the bottom of my hair is extremely thick, and I am a puffball at this moment in time. It's fabulous, but I kind of love it, and it makes me feel really cute. And my ponytail looks fucking amazing at this exact moment in time. So, like, total win. You know what I mean? He totally did a great job. Get him some thinning shears. Give him some YouTube tutorials. He'll figure it out, people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He did it with like some kitchen shears, which is really fabulous. They were new, but yeah. So sometimes you have to do stuff with unideal tools in unideal environments, in unideal ways, as a testament of real devotion and connection. That's actually how this works. But it's never going to be the dramatic shit that they try to make you believe. You know, that's all. It all goes back to the Christian coding, where they were going to literally sacrifice their own children, and we don't do that. That's insanity, and we would never even contemplate such a fucking disgusting idea for a false god. And that's exactly what that was for. Exactly. Because the truth is, what I was just talking about was a testament of devotion to beauty. I carry the frequency of beauty. That's what I do. Beauty is resonance and joy, magic, love, and peace. That's what beauty is. He beautified me, my vessel, as a symbol of devotion and love. And that carries that carries real codes of magic, y'all. I'll do anything for the plot. I can't cry about it too long, because that's just, ain't nobody got time for that.
No.
Anyways, so I need a frap now.
Same.
We need a latte, guys. So there's the whole tea about Sirian neural networks and chords and etheric chords and how all of this works. What have we got questions? Have we got other things we want to say before we wrap this up? Tell me, my darling.
Yeah, so first of all, you said it, so definitely let's also look at a T2, maybe.
Tea? Coffee?
Knee slapper. I
didn't get it.
He said spilled it. So we told the tea.
We did. We've had a whole we've had a journey today. We've been on a journey.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always a journey with us.
It is.
It's
It's
a
true.
beautiful journey, though.
It is.
Yeah.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
We cry a lot.
Yeah.
Snot carries codes too, people.
Yeah.
Get that on a crop top and smoke it.
Yeah.
Jay's gonna be like, no, I'm putting that on a. We're putting that on a crop top.
Let's fucking go.
Put that on a. But we've got to put that on a crop top and smoke it on a crop top.
Yes. A crop top saying that while it's
A crop top. A crop topception.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay.
Maybe get some booty shorts. I'll totally wear them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like no. Megan mentioned that the like, you know, like the like the cheer shorts, you know, like those athletic shorts that used to run around rampant in the 2000s.
Kinda, yeah.
You know what I mean? That would have like hot written on the ass.
Yeah.
No, we got to get some though that say "Which are you" on the butt. You know what I mean?
I don't know why. I just want to get some that says jazz.
Jazz. Just jazz right on the butt. Yeah.
JAZZ.
We gotta do it now. We gotta have jazz butt shorts.
It's gotta be bedazzled too.
Bedazzled. Okay.
Bedazzled jazz.
Well, I mean, you think that, but then you're gonna be sitting on rhinestones.
Oh, touche.
That's gonna hurt your butt. So I think we've got to print it in holographics.
Yes.
Yes.
That's how we do it.
Yes, and metallics. We can print it. It can't be bedazzled. It can't be actual, like, real, you know, Swarovskis or anything. Or rhinestones even. Because you're going to be sitting on that, and then that's going to leave jazz on your actual butt. Now, if you're wanting to imprint jazz on your butt, what you do is you get a pair of bedazzled rhinestone shorts that say jazz.
If you want people to... No. You do it.
And then you sit on them for maybe an hour or so, and you're going to have jazz imprinted on your butt. And then you're going to be able to take those shorts off, and it's going to be right there on your ass, okay? But if you're not trying... But that also... I am like the princess and the pea, and I cannot sit on anything that in any way uncomforts me. Okay. My Mars is in Taurus. I can't fucking deal with it, people. Like, I don't think at this age I'm meant to live an uncomfortable life. I don't think at any age anyone's meant to live an uncomfortable life. That's insanity.
No. Yes, it is.
So I'm going to need it printed in like iridescent, holographic, I don't know, foil. Like, I need it printed in foil on my butt. Jazz.
Yes.
J-A-Z-Z.
Yeah. We'll get multicolors. Yeah. Next thing was...
I was also thinking, what if we got Raz?
Right.
R-A-Z-Z.
You know what's funny?
Razaza.
Yes!
Razaza.
Razaza.
Except I'm not going to say jazz. I'm going to say jazzaza. It's now jazzaza.
Jazzaza.
Jazzaza. Razaza. It's like jazzercising. Jazzaza. You can wear your jazzaza shorts to jazzercise, to jazzaza sizing. It's, I don't know. We're getting really weird up in here. We've been recording for an hour and 20 minutes, and we're starting to get loosey goosey. Also, the moon is in Gemini, so
it's fun.
Broadcasting the Orionid frequency, which is a big old portal range.
Yeah.
Whew. What were you gonna say?
The Sirian.
We got distracted by jazz on the ass.
Yeah.
Which
jazz
is different.
On our asses.
Which is different than butt jazz.
Yeah.
If you know,
the door agrees.
The door agrees. Yeah, it clicked. Well, okay, back to Sirius.
This is Sirian neural network. So it's funny how like you mentioned about how like they would pull out and they'd insert. Think about like, and this is like a way. So if someone wants to,
they'd what?
You'll get it. So
they'd pull out an insert.
Yeah, they'd pull out an insert.
Sure. Take us on the ride, Maestro. I guess about pulling out and inserting.
Yes. So, funnily enough, I'm going to take this to radio broadcasting frequencies, and
where else would we take it? I mean,
I'm also going to take it to musical instruments. Now let's talk about sex. No, I'm joking. However, that's
talk about sax.
Sax, yeah.
Yeah.
Saxophone.
Okay.
Yeah, so literally, so think about like in the 40s and the 50s where they had like the pins, the communication lines, where they had to have the telecommunication lines and they had to like those people that worked.
Switchboards.
Yes, literally.
Yeah.
You had to pull out
the
specific, and it was whether the line was already inserted.
I see. He did take it. He did take the pull out and insert to a place.
Very literally.
Very literally.
Yeah, very literally.
He is the king of literality, so.
Hey. So yeah, literally, like they would have the switchboards and they'd literally have the lines that connected one end to another for people to communicate. And then if they needed to change the channel or the different line, they would do that. But think about it this way, like a lot of people remember, like if you ever look at like old musical instruments called like Korg, K-O-R-G, those were synthesizers, those were keyboards. Moog, M-O-O-G, they were some of like the originals that were created. So what happened was that they had to take these specific pieces of tools. And I'm trying to simplify this as much as possible. And what they had to do is that in order to create these sounds that we hear, like even for example, like if you know Hans Zimmer, like you know his style, like he literally uses a lot of analog, which is original musical gear. Literally, yeah, they have in like old analog stuff. That's why like now it's multiversal layered coding with digital as compared to the old school analog, vinyls and cassette tapes. And the way that, things used to be created, all the old stuff before it got digital had to be hardwired into one end and one piece of something into another.
Okay.
Yeah, so like now it's like, the old synthesizers and keyboards and stuff like that, they literally had to insert a cable into one end of this piece of transmitting something that transmits to another piece to get a line of information, of coding, of sound, of frequency, of vibration, of electricity to transfer to create something new or to bring something forth. Oh, and also just basically transmitting information, coding.
Okay, so do you think that somehow, like, to hack in, because I've always said that what we're dealing with is the reverse hack of a hack.
Mm-hmm.
of originality.
The originality is basically like the brains of the circuit boards that they had to plug into and unplug from.
So then how did they get the codes for the shades? See what I'm saying? Like, I'm taking it back to there all of a sudden, because that just was where I went when you were talking about this. I was like, well, so do they have to plug in some way to get the codes for the shades? You know what I mean? Like, how does that work? And then also thinking about, like, I mean, let's just take it to, the Matrix, with them plugging in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So there's got to be some connection, and I don't know what the connection is, but please feel free to join Witchery U and discuss it in there. Sometimes I feel like people forget that they can post in Witchery U. Like,
More than welcome to.
Please talk to us.
Yes.
We love it.
We created it for everyone to commune.
Yeah. We want to hear all the wild shit you have to say.
Yes,
we
please.
really want to hear
We're
all the
here
we
all
really
together.
we really want to hear all the wild shit you want to say. Like we chose Mighty Networks is where we host Witchery U, and we chose that for a reason, because it is the only hosting platform that I found that mimics social networks as effectively as it does. And it was designed to. It was designed to create communities, because I wanted people to be able to post about things that they would never feel comfortable posting on social media. I wanted people to be able to talk about cosmic stuff and magic and witchery and all kinds of cool shit in a safe environment, and an environment that is not just public for all the fucking shades to come along and read it. Because also, Witchery U is vibrationally coded. They can't get in. It's really funny, actually. It's really, really funny how many people I've encountered on social media who act one way and they cannot get in the doors of Witchery U, even though it's completely free to create an account. Yeah. They cannot get in because of the vibrational coding. It is. We literally created it to just be so safe, so that people who are very multidimensional have a safe space to show up in their full multidimensionality. It's really fun. So I'm just thinking, like, how I don't quite know how all of this connects yet.
Well, one of the ways that you actually said is, and that's the craziest part, because
part of this also just, it's like I got some keys here, but it's not all my specialty. But then some of it is, and then some of it's like other people's specialties. So I'm just here to say the right words and then hit the bong about it. Please continue, Michael.
Thanks. Yeah. You said it. I think for me, it was the clear stay. That's why it was such a huge revelation for me, because when you said being out in the frequency when you're drinking, when you're consuming in the same public frequency, I think that's one of the major ways of being able to hack into it. Because
and what if this is something that just pinged into my head when you said that, right? See, and this is how it works. This is why we have to be able to talk. This is why we have to be able to talk amongst ourselves. But also, I mean, I literally have tattooed in French on my right shoulder, the stars speak amongst themselves. This is why we have to be able to speak amongst ourselves, but we have to be able to talk about this stuff that's not, which is why we have these behind closed doors of Witchery U. It's so we can talk about things that we wouldn't normally in, public talk about. But what I was thinking was, if we've got a neural network, they've got a neural network. So what if they've got a neural network? The person getting the information is not the one that's going to use it. The person's getting the information about you and then transmitting it to what they, the information that they can about you, right? But there's only so much information other people can pick up.
Right.
So they're picking up the information about you, then they're transmitting it to whoever the shade of you is, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? But then it's like this big interdimensional game of telephone.
Yeah.
Which is why you'll find a ton of shit, like they're almost like wannabe copies of me on the internet talking about codes and keys. There's two huge words they use all the time, codes and keys. They all use it in the same way. But it's not the same. And they never have anything to really back it up. You know what I mean? There's nothing really behind it.
Yeah. And the same for frequencies.
Yeah. And they're always obsessed with trying to figure out what wealth codes means, and that's one of the funniest things to me ever.
Yeah.
They're all wrong too. It's just how you code wealth into your reality. It's hard. It's not hard. It's reality coding 101, which they would know if they weren't shades. Yeah. So, and the truth is, Could shades be not shades? I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe that they could grow and evolve and form their own coding. What they have to do is to disengage from the person that they are mimicking, though. They have to disengage from the frequency that they are mimicking, and they have to develop their own.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it really comes down to, is development. It's a lack of development. Beings who have these extremely ascended perspectives of consciousness or connection or the all, right? They all have one thing in common, and it's high levels of development. Not development in the mindless matrix, hoard wealth, look at me, I have fame, so I made it. Not that bullshit, right? Development of the actual self, development of knowledge of the external and the internal on a balanced measure. Interdimensional connection with each other, right? And with beings beyond one's own sphere of reality. If it's needed by one, it's actually required by the collective. If one member of the collective needs something, it is required by all members of the collective. So it is therefore up to all members of the collective to make sure that it is not required by any of the collective. Or if it is, that requirement is fulfilled, and then further development can advance. Development cannot advance when requirements are had. If you have a requirement, you can't advance developmentally. So like if you have a class that has a prerequisite, that class has a prerequisite because there's information that you need to be able to develop at the rate that that class is going to push you at. Mm-hmm. If you don't have that basis of knowledge, you're not going to be able to develop at that proper rate. Mm-hmm. So you're not going to be able to keep up with that class. So you take that prerequisite class so that you can have the knowledge to develop very quickly in this manner. If you don't have that prerequisite knowledge, you're not going to be able to develop very quickly in this manner. This is why I teach business the way that I do. You're not going to get rich overnight. You're going to be able to never work for anybody else across time and space for the rest of forever, though. You're going to make money in your sleep.
Yeah.
Once you learn how to code that into reality. Once you actually know what you want. Once you actually have the proper architecture of your business set up, once you actually know how to design offers that are in resonance with yourself and with your people and with your cosmic contracts that you already have in place, there's a lot to it. It's not drop a $33 offer and drop a free membership and everybody's just going to turn you into a celebrity overnight. Oh my God. Go away. I can't handle that fucking frequency anymore. It's so cringe, actually. So cringe. And it's not working for anybody. I don't know who the fuck is actually the source of teaching this free membership, low ticket membership cadence that's currently running rampant in the business fields, but they need to quit. They need to quit. Mm-hmm. I have lots of low ticket memberships. I also have high ticket memberships. I have a huge variety of things that actually fit what I'm doing. It's not just a mindless cadence because some business coach said that it was going to activate me. Shocker. So, I think that there's a lot to still be uncovered. And I need a latte. I'm like, well, that was fun. We'll be back with the next one, guys. We've
Maybe
got
a part 2.
We've all got a lot to, I'm sure, there's going to have to be a Sirian neural network part 2 for sure when we get more information. I just don't have the, you know what I mean? I feel like this is I know that we're going to have more stuff coming in about this that's going to be in Coven of One. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of information about the Sirian neural network technologies that's not going to be publicly shared. It's not going to be publicly available. You're going to have to be in Coven of One to access that. Coven of One's only $88 a month, though, so it's not about the money, honeys. It's about the vibe. If you can pass the vibe check to get into Coven of One, that's the key, really. So we do have that coming, but these are important things that I think will unlock a lot. I also, that's part of, well, why would you have a neural network? Why would you even need something like that? Why would you need a large group of people to go in somewhere? Because one person can't do everything and one person's not supposed to remember everything. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I say things, I'm a manifestor in human design, so I initiate the party. Michael projects the party. And then it's like I've now given all of our listeners and fabulous multidimensional baddies and luxury, which is something to respond to. So now it's up to you, dear listener, to take this information, let it unravel the codes in your brain, let those come to the surface, and then, feel free to share those. If you're part of the neural network, then you've got codes to share too. With us, we're sitting here like we've got part of them, but so do you. And so do you, and so do you, and so do you. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, we don't have the answers and the codes to everything. We have part of it because that's how this works. It's a group project, which is why my midheaven's in Libra and my north node's in Pisces. I'm here to initiate a whole bunch of shit. I'm here to start a bunch of shit. I'm here to start some shit, which is why I don't have any planetary placements on Aries. Actually, I can't remember which house it's in right now. I use certain things and I don't use certain things at the moment, so I really only pay attention to the stuff I use. If you want an astrologer, hire one. I'm just your witch. I just know enough astrology to be dangerous and channel an entire cosmic broadcasting system based on astrology. But only the signs. I don't understand what a sextile is. What's a sextile? Can someone in Witcher You explain a sextile to me, please? It's just a funny word. Why did I pick that one? It's a funny word because I'm a child and the word sex is in it. I don't know. It's a funny word to say, sextile. I don't even know if I have I'm sure, does everybody have sextiles? How does that work? What's a sextile? It sounds like a textile, but sexy. That's what I was thinking. I love textiles. So I guess I love sextiles. I don't know. The S is right next to the T, so are they twins?
Stextiles.
Stextiles. Combine them and they're stextile. All right. Well, we've gotten off the bus at Looneyland, and I'm here for it. Same. Woo! Ding, ding, ding. Yeah. Looneyland, City Center. Everyone off.
I'll talk to you later.
Hey, I want to go to Looneyland. That sounds fun. Everybody get up. It's time to slam down. Wait.
It's time to slam down.
It's time to what? It's time to slam down. It's time to slam now. It's time to jam now. We don't know. What are the actual opening lyrics to Space Jam? We're not.
Welcome to the Space Jam.
A real jam going down. Welcome to the Space Jam. Here's your chance. Do your dance at the Space. Okay, Michael does not know the words to Space Jam. Michael does not know the words to Space Jam. This is not me. I'm gonna go look it up to make sure I'm right. I actually listened to it just a couple of days ago. Funnily enough,
I'm going off of how many times I watched the movie. I never listened to the song that many times off movie.
Okay, well, we're gonna go see who's right about the lyrics.
Oh no, you're right. I can tell you. I know when you say it, starts remembering.
And memories are also part of the Sirian neural network. That's part of Coven of One technology. You can connect with all of your memories of you across time and space. Do you see how it's all connected?
And
it's all a web. It's a
codes.
Grid. It's a real grid. Mm-hmm. Grids are not just enacted by somebody embodying a certain level of consciousness and ascended reality or what the fuck ever.
No.
Grids are created through conscious activation of points of yourself or particles that you have entangled with across time and space. It all actually does come back to quantum physics. Thank you. Have a good night. Seriously. I watched a lot of shows about quantum physics in 2020. Not on Gaia. I didn't understand it really, but I was like, this is unlocking some shit for me. And it did. It really did. And I did a lot of research so that I could try to understand on a much higher level in a very non-spiritual lens, right? I really wanted to know, like, what are the scientists saying? Like, what are the... I dated an engineer who was a skeptic just so I could, like, I mean, he was a vibe too. It was vibey time. But also I was like, just talk nerdy science engineering, no woo-woo to me because it's really interesting. And he was fun to people watch with. Hope you're having a fabulous experience, Ashton. Love you. Anyways, I've got some fabulous exes out there. Yeah, and the fairy I dated for a summer, he was great too. Hope he's having fun as well. Yeah. Just not me husbands, you know what I mean? It's neural networks. Connections exist, but not to the extent of some other connections. Also, I'm having a big old conundrum. I don't know what color of nails to get next. Oh no. I have no ideas. I have no ideas. I think I might look at the numbers.
The numbers can tell you that.
The magical reawakening technique. That's one of my fabulous students, Megan.
Yeah.
Has a YouTube video. I don't know her YouTube channel, but what's her YouTube name?
I thought it was still magical.
Is it Magical Reawakening? I don't know it offhand. What is it actually? She's talking. She figured out how to. She decoded her nail polish color via the numbers. She's a tarot specialist and fabulous. And yes, Magical Reawakening, Megan G. You got to go watch this shit, y'all. It coded down to the, I think it was it Judgment or Death? I can't remember. It was one of those. I think it was Death. It was 13. I think. But also, I swear I've also watched this video like 18 times in my dreams lately. Like,
I'm trying to pick something out there.
I think she's just doing it on a bunch of different planets. I'm tuning into it everywhere. Anyways, you got to tune into it too because it blew my mind. And I was like, what number codes? Because I do time. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I do is I code out time and calendar dates. And, but I've done this weird, funky number coding for a long time. And then Michael does weird, funky number coding with the frequencies. Mm-hmm. And then to see Megan doing it with tarot and manicures. First of all, I was like, OMG, yes.
Yeah.
You know, and also though, it just like, it blew my mind. So what numerical coding are you sitting on? I'm curious to know. Anyways.
That's a good point.
Yeah. What can you numerically code out from your reality?
You know what's funny is I was thinking about it is like it, and it goes back to what I was talking about, like with equipment and connections for the neural networks. So I remember when I was first in college that literally I was standing in front of like they had this old, or this like, it wasn't necessarily old, but it was a big British recording console. I mean, this thing was huge, and they had to have what's called a patch bay. And that's the same thing that they would be used for, you know, even the brainworks for the...
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's called a patch bay. And what a patch bay does is that you have to take those little cables and you put them in one specific channel.
Is this how you like hook your guitars up?
In a way, yeah. Sometimes, some ways.
I was trying to... What do we use this for?
So it's...
Sorry, I like blinked out of reality for 0.2 seconds, but it was the wrong 0.2 seconds.
You're good. So it's literally like those patch bays, the boards for phone calls and communications, back in the day. Same thing, and synthesizers, everything. So it's literally...
So wait. So synthesizers and telephones run on the same technology.
They can, yes.
That feels important. I don't know why, but
frequencies, connections. You have to rerun specific lines. I'll show you a video of like something I saw a little while ago. It's very interesting. But basically, yeah, so like even the patch bays, they're
We'll
all
post that video in the Ascended Frequencies Network on Witchery U. So if you want to go deeper and you want to see the video he's talking about, you have to join us inside of Witchery U.
That's true.
You'll find it in the Ascended Frequencies Network.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's kind of funny too. It's meant to be like a funny video for people that use synthesizers and stuff, but it's like just a little short.
Cool.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah. So it's funny that you mentioned the numbers because the patch bays, each one is a specific channel. Each channel is numbered 1 to 76, just as an example. And you have to be able to connect 1 to.
Are we to take 76 literally, or is that just a random number?
I just threw out a random number.
Okay, just check.
I don't know why. Usually, like, you actually never really hit 76. Usually, it's always in even numbers because the way that it works is that odds are left 1, evens are right 2. When you have 1 and 2, it makes it from mono, which is center, to stereo, which everybody is used to within music. So when you just hear like us talking, you're hearing our voice in the center of whatever speakers you're listening through us. So like your headphones, you're going to hear us like in the very center of your headphones, of your ears, of your head. When it's stereo, it's on both sides. Anyway, so yeah, so literally like patch bays, you can connect from 1 to 23 because you want it to go from channel 1 to channel 23 for whatever reason.
Okay.
And you're transferring and transmitting that information.
You wouldn't go to channel 24?
You can do whatever you want.
Oh.
That's the key. Because technically both can still be mono. It all depends on what is your design goal? What is your designed outcome? What do you want to do with this?
This is the nerd speak that's really hot to me, but not from my lab. So whoever this is for, this is great. Keep going. No, this is like, see, but that's what I'm saying is like, I have specialty and expertise, but then that specialty and expertise is designed to unlock other people's specialty and expertise. But then I need you guys to bring your specialty and expertise. Mm-hmm. I just got codes, y'all.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just woke up early. I made the coffee. I got the key ring. Let's ride. You know what I mean? Hey. Like, that's what I've got going on over here. Like, I just work here. I don't know.
That's valid. Motorcycle codes.
Why are there always motorcycle codes? There's always motorcycle codes rolling around. It's really funny, too. The ways... times that we've had motorcycle codes, either from us or from, one of our colleagues or something like that, come through is always really interesting. I'm smoking runts today. Runts, just runts by itself, not pink runts, not Chicago runts, not Obama runts, not, dear God, not bubblegum runts, especially not just plain runts. Plain runts is what you want. That's the weed that's going to tune you into the aliens the most. Okay. Just plain runts, not any of the other kinds of runts, not cookie runts. No, they're all great. Well, some of them are better than others in my opinion. I have tested and tried every single runts that I've ever been able to find. And, runts is one of my favorite strains. And I love most of the ones mentioned. I really do sparingly with bubblegum runts because a little goes a long way, to say the least. It will hyper focus you like nobody's business. But runts, just plain runts, the most multidimensionally connecting. You just want to smoke a bowl of straight runts, okay? Yeah. Straight runts. Now you can mix it. It's a fabulous mixer weed as well. It's fabulous to mix with a variety of things. I've been mixing it with black garlic gelato. And both of these strains are from TFC. I've been mixing it with that past few days. It's been really fabulous, but I'm just having a bowl of straight runts. It's my first bowl of straight runts actually in a few days. So that's fun. I feel like the vibes out there are funky, but I really want to frap. Yeah. But the vibes are always funky when the moon's giving any sort of Orionid frequency. We're in Appalachia right now, and there's massive regenerative recoding happening. Interdimensionally on this exact part of the planet at this moment in time. And so it's just weird out there sometimes.
My curiosity is the fact of like, what is it like because of the fact that we're in the mountains and we're thousands of feet elevated from seafloor level.
What's it like out there at 700
Right.
feet?
Exactly.
We don't know anymore. That's what I used to live at.
Yeah. Technically, there's difference in, like, I know that there's different pressures that you're experiencing.
England. Tell me of England. AKA Texas. What's Texas like What's Dallas like right now?
Out in Texas.
I was thinking about cheeseburgers for a second.
Oh,
I was thinking about this restaurant called Rodeo Goat in Dallas, and there's several of them around the Metroplex. If you're in the Metroplex, definitely check it out. They do have gluten-free options. They have gluten-free buns, which are fabulous. And I had this arugula goat cheese garlic aioli.
That was one of my favorite sauces I ordered. So, like, literally, I had cooks like they'd be like, "It's aioli." I'd be like, "Okay."
Interesting.
I know, right?
You read things and it looks like it should be one way and it's not.
Right.
So, aioli. Okay. So, anyways, I didn't actually order it very much, to be honest. So, good to know. I liked it when I got it.
It sounds delicious.
It was good. Yeah. We could do goat cheese, cheeseburger, salads.
I was going straight for the case of burgers.
Goat cheese and arugula quesadilla burgers.
Yeah.
Is even better.
Yeah. With lime.
And cilantro.
And cilantro. And mayonnaise.
And mayonnaise.
And, yeah.
I can't have garlic anymore, so. You know, though, we could mix some grated Parmesan cheese with butter and the cilantro. And I bet it would mimic a garlic aioli with no garlic.
Ooh. That sounds really good. That sounds really good.
Well, now we got to go find goat cheese.
Yeah.
That's Eric's open.
That's what I was
Does Eric's
thinking.
have goat cheese?
Yeah.
Eric's has. We just don't buy a lot of goat cheese.
Yeah. They have cow, goat.
Well, if we're going to Eric's,
and
so
one
we've got to
other.
get Mimolette as well.
Oh, yeah.
We need I need some cheese. I need a cheese setup. We're going to go buy a cheese board, guys. Love you. Bye. It makes me want a cheese board real bad.